Welcome to Syndicated Nightmares, where each week we take a deep dive into an episode of Freddy's Nightmares based on the Nightmare on Elm Street film series. This week, hosts Dave and Michelle talk about Season 2, Episode 10, Do You Know Where Your Kids Are?, directed by Bill Froelich and written by Wayne Rice, and the original air date was December 4th, 1989. And the summary is, in this follow-up to Bloodlines, teenager Lisa agrees to swap babysitting duties with her friend Heidi as a favor. She discovers that a relative who's locked in the family cellar wants revenge, even invading her dreams to get it.
Nice. Although, did she invade her dreams?
Not really,
Yeah,
no.
I don't think they did.
So I have a confession about this episode. So with these episodes, I've just been, watching them without looking anything up beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I watched this entire episode without realizing it was a sequel episode.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Weren't you like, hey, those parents seem like kind of familiar?
No. So when he introduces himself and he's like, hi, is it Jed or Judd?
Something like that, yeah.
Burton, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or Jack, maybe?
Jack, yeah, Jack.
I thought he's, I caught that since he's introducing himself, maybe he was going to become more important later. I didn't realize it was, somebody we'd already met.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's funny.
And then, when I was reading afterwards, I was like, oh, the psycho, when they adopted the female version of the Omen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently at the end of Bloodlines, the mom falls over the banister because of the roller skate that the little girl kind of pushed out. And it was just left off at that, and we just, had no idea what happened. So this is the follow-up of what happened. So we find out that there are two teenagers named Heidi and Lisa, and they're talking about some boy that Heidi really likes, and he's going to sleep over, and they're probably going to have sex for the first time, and Heidi has to babysit the Burton family. And so she asks Lisa to do it instead so she can make out or have sex with her new boyfriend. And so Lisa goes to the house, and Will, the kid, greets her he's real clingy. He's just clings on to her leg, and she has never met the family before, and she's kind of walking through the house, and she hears this banging and screaming from coming from the basement, and she's like, "What's that?" And Will's like, "Oh, that's my sister Patty." And, it was just so blasé, oh, that's her, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then Freddy comes on, and he gives his rules of babysitting.
He says, "Is it rule number 1, don't die on the job?"
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little weird that because Lisa is I've never met the Burtons. I don't even know how many kids they have, and her friend Heidi sent her over there with literally telling her nothing about this family or
no information.
Yeah, you think you might tell someone that there's a psychotic kid monster in the basement.
Yeah. So the house address for this episode, it's 374, and that was my address growing up.
Oh.
So, just, something fun in the episode.
But you didn't have a prison in the basement, though?
No, no. It was, we had a finished basement, so, and that's in the basement is where I would watch all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies when I was growing up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, Will tells Lisa, you can't open the basement door. And then the parents rush in, and Lisa's kind of hey, can you tell me what's going on downstairs? And the parents are like, oh, we're in a hurry. Just don't open the basement door. Everything will be fine. And, don't you think that maybe, just maybe, the parents should take 5 minutes out of their day to explain that they have a psychotic child living in their basement?
Right. Yeah, it's just you're going to be hearing some screaming and banging on the walls throughout the evening, but don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. And the screaming and banging reminded me, and I'm not a big Harry Potter fan, so I don't know character names very well, that I think her name's Myrtle. She's always
Oh yeah,
she's
Moaning Myrtle.
Yeah, she's the ghost in the bathtub or something like that. That's what, like, all the screaming and moaning that Myrtle does, that's what it sounded like coming from Patty in the basement.
Oh yeah.
I thought so. Anyway.
I guess so. Myrtle was a little more fun.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's true. And this kind of screaming and banging, it did seem like she had, like, severe developmental disorders and needed a lot of help that a basement just couldn't provide. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have a dumbwaiter that they use to send food down to her.
So many questions at this point.
Yeah. Yes.
So then the parents leave, and Will tells Lisa that his sister Patty is locked in the basement. She's been down there for a long time because she tried to kill him when he was a baby, and the doctors wanted to lock her up in a psychiatric ward, but his parents said no, that they would just take care of her. So apparently their solution was to lock her in the basement and, like, put a steel door between them and the basement stairs. And yeah, so she's just living in this concrete room.
Yes. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah. But we did see a Texas Chainsaw Massacre poster in Will's room.
Yeah, like, Will's a big horror fan. And he also has the doll he was holding. Wasn't that a My Pet Monster?
I think so, yeah.
Do you remember those from the 80s? Yeah, and he's got the monster doll, and he wants her to read him this, like, graphic zombie story.
The story that when she's reading it, like, the last line of it is, everybody was dead, every last one of them. And, like, that's how the story ends. And this little child, I think he's, like, maybe 7 or 8 years old, he's like, read this to me.
Yeah, Will is awesome.
Oh, yeah. I kind of want to know what that story was. So then Lisa is in the kitchen, and she hears the basement door being jiggled around. And she goes to investigate, but as she is walking past the dumbwaiter, a monster arm, like, comes and grabs her and pulls her down the elevator shaft thingy. And it turns out it was just a dream, because Will wakes her up, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on how Will woke her up, if you remember it at all.
Was like she fell asleep reading to him?
Yeah, she fell asleep reading to him. But the way that he woke her up, he was, like, caressing her neck and chest when he was waking her up. Instead of, like, tapping her or, like, you know, kind of pushing her, he was, like, gently caressing her neck and chest, like the chest area where you put Vicks Vapor Rub when you're real sick. You know, like that area. And I was just like,
oh,
why are you doing that?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe
That's
I was
really strange. I missed that.
Yeah, I was okay. So then Lisa calls Heidi, and it's kind of like, what the fuck?
Right.
But Heidi doesn't answer because she's making out with that boyfriend of hers.
Right. And then Lisa looks through a photo album, and it only has pictures of Will. There's nothing of Patty. And then she walks down into the basement with a flashlight, and there's sort of this locked steel door at the bottom of the stairs. Yeah, and then there's a whole bunch of nightmare stuff and waking up. Like, she falls asleep, and then she checks on Will, and then she goes downstairs, and something broke through the door, and then Will's missing, and then there's, like, this horned monster inside, and then she wakes up again. Yeah,
it's like the double fake out that they like to do. And I don't like when they do that, because when I'm writing in my notes, it's all happening so fast. And as I'm writing it, I'm taking it as, like, gospel. Like, this is what's actually happening.
Right.
You know, like, why are you making me write all this stupid stuff so I can remember it?
Yeah. Like, there's a huge page of notes, but like barely any plot moving forward.
Yeah. I think that's why
mhm.
it bothers me so much, because it's just such a waste of time.
So she goes downstairs and she tries talking through the door to Patty.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think of Heather Langenkamp was in an after-school special called "Have You Tried Talking to Patty?" So
Shut up.
that's what I was thinking of when she was talking through the door. Have you watched that?
Yeah, isn't Patty deaf in that episode or something?
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the moral conflict of that after-school special? Like, deaf people want friends too? Like, what are we supposed to learn from that after-school special?
Yeah, I don't know. I remember, like, and Mark Patton is in it too, and like she goes out with him, and he lies and said they had sex when they didn't.
Oh, that's right.
But I don't. That's a good question.
Yeah. Oh, I think like at the end, doesn't she call her dad on the phone? Like, she hasn't talked to her dad in years, and it's because like the whole school thinks she's like this big slut now. She wants to, like, I don't know, repair her relationship with her dad or something like that. I remember the plot just like went off the rails. No, that's a different one. She was in 2 after-school specials. She was in the one about Patty, and then she was in another one called Can Guys Say No? And she was going around peer pressuring all these guys to like have sex with her because she had low self-esteem.
Heather Langenkamp was?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's called Can a Guy Say No? And I remember at a convention, someone had a promo still from that episode, and it was Heather and the guy that she was like going to have sex with in that episode. And she was going on and on about how like she had such a huge crush on him, and then she found out he was gay, and that just confirmed that she had like terrible gaydar. And then like later that night, we were sitting around in the hotel bar, and we were with Heather, and Amanda was there, and there was like me, my friend, and then some random guy, and Heather and Amanda, and we were all just like talking. And Heather thought that it would be a good idea to like try to hook me up with this random guy because she thought that like we were cute together. And so she was giving me like a nudge, like, hey, go talk to him. And I was like, oh wow, you really do have bad gaydar. And she was like, oh, is he gay? And I was like, no, I'm gay. And she just like, oh my god, she like all color left her face. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, so no, it's totally fine. But yeah, so that's the story of that after school special.
That's great.
Yeah. So anyway,
I definitely need to track that down and watch it.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised you don't have it. Like, you have everything. You're the person I go to when I need like my Heather fix. I'm like, hey, do you have that Passions episode?
Yeah. Well, I think Have You Tried Talking to Patty? I think was on YouTube.
Oh, so was it?
Oh, okay. Is that how you saw Can a Guy Say No?
No, maybe I did see it on YouTube. I thought you gave it to me.
No,
I swear you did. Because there's like no way that I would have seen it. Yeah, maybe I did find it on YouTube. Oh well.
All right.
Yeah, we'll have to find it. So, okay. I have no idea where we are in the plot of this show. Okay, so
she's trying to talk to Patty. But yeah, like she's trying to talk through the door, and the wall is shaking and dust is coming down, and then she calls. I thought this was really funny. She calls Heidi again, and she's like leaving this angry voicemail message, and she's like, if you don't pick up, like, we're never friends again, and I'm leaving, whether you come here or not. So Heidi finally stops making out with the guy, and she picks up the phone, and when she picks it up, she's like, Lisa, is that you? She was
who else
like,
would
of course it's her. We're just listening to her leaving this long message.
So that's when Lisa threatens to leave. I'm leaving in 20 minutes with or without you. And then Lisa gets the bright idea she gets a chicken leg, like a KFC chicken leg, and ties a string around it and drops it down the dumb elevator, or the dumb waiter thing. And so Patty starts to eat the chicken leg, but then is also like pulling on the string, and for whatever reason she like has a 50-foot string tied to this chicken leg. And the string gets wrapped around Lisa's leg, so when Patty is like demonically pulling it down the dumb waiter, Lisa gets caught and is like almost sucked down into the shaft thingy.
Yes.
And it was just so bizarre.
Right, because she has this long string, but also it's like this really like cheap, flimsy string that would not, it would break before it would pull someone down a chute.
Yeah, it's like a string that you use when you are baking or cooking a turkey. You use it to like keep the stuffing in or something like that. Yeah, it was like that that thin string. It was so bizarre. And the way they made Patty seem, they made her seem like she was this demonic, huge beast with developmental disabilities, you know? And it was really weird. Because we do end up seeing her pretty soon, and she's not this like huge beast.
Right, she's like a sociopath, but she looks like a normal person.
Yeah. So anyway, so Heidi finally gets there. Oh, I guess we should say that Lisa ends up freeing herself from the string before it's too late, so she's fine.
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah, she does.
Yeah. So then Heidi gets there, and she's like, hey, I'm going to check on Will. Once I do that, then you can leave and whatever. So then the phone rings, and Lisa answers it, and it's Heidi. And Lisa's like, why are you calling me from upstairs? And so they're like going back and forth about how, oh, this is Heidi. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. You know, going back and forth on that. And then Lisa figures out that maybe it was Patty in disguise as Heidi and goes upstairs. I didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah, it was like a cool twist, but didn't really make any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then she, wakes up from a dream again, and then she goes upstairs to check on Will, and she thinks he's missing, but then it turns out he was just in the bathroom, but she doesn't know that. And so she thinks that Patty has somehow grabbed Will, because she had just seen Patty grab Will in the dream, and so she runs downstairs, opens the locked steel door, and Patty pulls her in, and Patty ends up leaving and locking Lisa in the basement dungeon.
Yeah. Patty has the same color hair as Lisa. They're both like these thin blondes, and who just happen to like wear the same size clothes. And so Patty takes Lisa's clothes and leaves, locking Lisa in there, and decides like, oh, she's going to, I think, just escape. But it turns out, as she's leaving, she like steals a car, and then she like crashes.
Yeah, she takes Lisa's car.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, she takes Lisa's car, and we just see her driving maniacally down the road. There's like I don't know how she knows how to drive. It's kind of like one of those Michael Myers things, like, when did he learn to drive? So yeah, she knows how to drive, and apparently she knows the streets of Springwood, and she's just on her way, a bat out of hell. And so then Heidi gets there for real, And she's all pissed off because she can't find Lisa, and she thinks that Lisa just left a 6-year-old to fend for himself. And then the parents come home just a few minutes later, and they see Heidi there, and they're like, oh, where's Lisa? And she's like, oh, she had to study or something like that. And then they pay her and Heidi and goes on her way.
Yeah, which I thought was I felt really bad for Lisa, but I thought it was a fun way to end that segment, that Lisa's trapped down there, but they just assume it's still Patty.
Yeah, so Lisa's like banging on the walls and screaming, and she sounds exactly the way that Patty did in the beginning, but why didn't she just like say, hey, it's me, Lisa?
Right.
She like...
That's what I was thinking too, like, use your words.
Yeah, she didn't use her words at all, and I think that was also the problem with what they did with Patty. They made it seem like she didn't speak English at all, like she had no vocabulary, because all she would do is bang on the walls and scream. But when we see in the second half, like, Patty does know how to talk, like she does have conversation skills. So, yeah, why didn't Lisa just say, hey guys, here's what happened. Can you open the door?
Or they're sending food down, like, write a note and put it on the plate that you send back up.
Yeah. And maybe, there probably isn't a pen and paper down there, but, you could, like, write it in the ketchup or something. There's ways. So.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, so then we kind of find out, well, Heidi leaves, and the parents kind of talk about, like, the dad wants to go downstairs and talk to Patty and, like, visit her, because they haven't seen her in, like, 2 years, I think he said. And the wife, who is also a nurse at the psychiatric ward, tells him that the psychiatric ward is in worse conditions and she's better off living down there. And so I guess that's how they're allowed to keep her there, because seriously, like, in real life, you just need to call Children's Services, because I don't think it's okay to have a child locked in your basement. Like, I assume she hasn't showered or brushed her teeth or gone to the bathroom, because there was no shower, no toilet, no nothing in there.
Right. There must be some receptacle.
Maybe.
She's been down there for 2 years.
Yeah, for quite some time.
And then it's 1 month later, and so Patty got into an accident in Lisa's car, and the car was incinerated, and so everyone assumes that was Lisa driving, and Lisa was killed.
Even though they didn't find a body in there, right?
Yes. Okay. But Lisa's mom is convinced that Lisa is still alive, and and then she goes to the Burton's house looking for, asking them about Lisa, and hears the screams, but they all think it's Patty, and Lisa's mom doesn't think it's weird that there's someone screaming from the basement.
Yeah, that's it. Like, nobody thinks this is weird.
Yeah.
So the mom is, like, going around the neighborhood posting these missing person flyers of Lisa, and she like left her car door open to the point where when she returns to her car, she sees Patty in there, like, rummaging through her purse looking for, I guess, food, like, but she's like eating like a breath mint or something. And so Lisa's mom has kind of like is off her rocker a little bit. She's like totally traumatized that her beloved Lisa is dead or missing or something. So she sees Patty, who looks an awful lot like Lisa, and she's like, "Oh, do you want to come home with me? Do you want to live with me? I'll be your mom." And so Patty, after like a few minutes, kind of gives in, and she's like, "Yeah, oh, okay, that sounds cool." So Patty goes home with Lisa's mom, and so Patty is sitting there at the kitchen table while the mom is like making soup for her, and Patty is playing with this huge butcher knife, like Michael Myers huge knife. And she like just starts stabbing at the brick of cheddar cheese or something. Like it's like one of those big like government wheels of cheese.
Yes. Yeah, I have in my notes, Patty is going to stab her, but she stabs block of cheese instead. Yeah.
And then Lisa's mom was like, oh, go upstairs and shower. This soup's gonna take a while to heat up. So Patty goes upstairs and she takes a shower and she gets into Lisa's clothes, and then she sees an article about Lisa's death, and I think she realizes, like, oh, they think this girl is dead, so I can just live her life now. Which is, you know, I guess Patty is a smart psychopath or sociopath, because, you know, they just, at the beginning, they made her seem like, I don't even know how to describe it, but they made her seem like she was this, like, absolute deformed monster.
Right, like she's Frankenstein's monster and can just, like, growl and scream.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Yeah, and then there's like a flashback of her switching places with Lisa, but which was a little weird because we just saw that happen 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that. It was that diabolical of a plan to where we needed it explained.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, then Lisa's mom comes up with the soup, and she sort of starts losing it and thinking she sees Lisa, but then it's Lisa with a burnt face. And yeah, it was just weird because Patty takes the food and Lisa sees that Patty is wearing Lisa's jacket, and I wasn't sure if, like, oh, does she think Patty is Lisa, or now does she think Lisa is dead and Patty found the jacket somewhere?
I took it, like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, the mom's gonna see the jacket and she's like totally gonna catch her, and the jig is up, like it's gonna be a great moment. But I think she took it as, oh, this is Lisa's jacket, you're wearing Lisa's jacket, you must be Lisa. So I think she like convinced herself that this was now Lisa.
Okay.
That's how I took it.
But yeah, I guess that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Given the rest of the episode. But then she keeps having dreams about real Lisa, and real Lisa telling her that to get rid of Patty.
Yeah. So then, like, the mom comes in to check on Patty, and Patty is quickly learning, like, she has a lot of control in this mother-daughter relationship. And then so she tells the mom, like, to leave the bedroom door open because she doesn't like closed spaces, which, considering what she just went through, I kind of, like, understand why.
Right.
And then we go to, Heidi goes over to Will's house, the babysitter, or where they were babysitting, and because she, like, picked him up from school, and Will's mom is like, oh, are you going by Lisa's house? I made my famous nut cake. I would love for you to give it to Lisa's mom as my condolence that her daughter died on the way home from babysitting my son.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it is something people do, send food over after someone dies.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I liked the symbolism in giving her a nut cake, because the whole year, you know, or just the symbolism of having a nut cake, because it's very apparent that the mom is, like, nuts right now.
Yeah. Oh, true.
Yeah. That's how I took it.
And then also, didn't they say, like, nut, or was it blueberry nut cake was Lisa's favorite food?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, Heidi gets there, and then yeah, Lisa's mom is like, what are you talking about? Lisa's still alive. She's upstairs. And can you bring her these scissors?
Oh yeah, because they were like working on her prom dress.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Heidi walks up there with a pair of scissors, and Patty attacks her and stabs Heidi.
Yeah, like guts her in the stomach with a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of blood at all. Like, I would think that'd be a bloody mess, and there was just this little trickle down her sweater.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't get any on the carpet.
No, not at all.
And then in the meantime, Lisa is trapped in that basement room, and she's like chiseling away at the cement blocks and figuring out a way to get out through the wall.
But why didn't Patty figure that out?
It's a good question, because Patty seems just as intelligent as Lisa.
Yeah. That's it's really bothersome how they made her seem like she was not a functioning person at all.
Oh, and Lisa's mom keeps having these dreams that, about real Lisa coming back, and Patty is saying I'm Lisa, and whoever that Lisa in the dream is, you need to kill her.
Yeah. This escalated quickly, so.
Right.
So then Lisa escapes from the cellar, through a storm door or something, and goes home, and her mom is in the kitchen with a revolver, and she's like, I'm gonna shoot you, you're not my real daughter. And they get into this whole thing where Lisa's like, yes, I'm your real daughter, and Patty's like, no, she isn't, I'm your real daughter. And it's just I thought that whole scene kind of went on a little too long.
It was 5 minutes of just the three of them talking.
Yeah, and the dialogue really didn't progress it anywhere. It was just giving examples as to why Lisa was her real daughter. Turns out that Lisa wasn't convincing enough, because the mom shoots Lisa, and then she is quickly arrested afterward. And I thought oh, this was the end of the episode, but this is one of the longer episodes. It was over 50 minutes to watch, so it had to have been over an hour when it originally aired.
But I did like this tag on the end. Patty, she sneaks back into the basement room and puts the cinder blocks back in place. Mm-hmm. Although it's weird, how did she even know how Lisa broke out?
Yeah, because she brought cinder blocks with her. She has this wheelbarrow full of cinder blocks, and she's just wheeling it down the street, and goes to the storm door on the side of the house, the cellar door. Yeah, and puts the wall back together again.
Yeah. It doesn't really make sense.
No,
but then the parents, the Burtons, hear something, and they go downstairs, and the door's open, and so they go into the room, and then Patty closes the door behind them and locks them in. So now they're stuck in this cellar room. Mm-hmm. And then and then at the beginning they'd said she was locked up because she tried to hurt Will, and now she goes upstairs and she's like, "Hi, Will, I'm home," and now she. Now she has her chance.
Yeah, I assume Will's a goner, because that's basically we don't see him escape or anything. She's just very much trapping him in that house. So, yeah, and then that's how it ends. Which I kind of like that ending.
Yeah, that part was fun. Mm-hmm. And then Freddy comes through a door, and he's making Leave It to Beaver references and talks about going home for the holidays. Yeah. But otherwise there's absolutely nothing in the episode about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's true. Who knows?
And prom is in May. Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell? Oh well. So, how did you like it?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I just sort of felt bad for everyone. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it wasn't one of my favorites, but I did like the very end. What did you think?
I actually kind of liked it. I thought it had movie potential. if they would have had something like Lisa and Patty were actual siblings, like they were twins and they were separated at birth. And then that's how they did the whole like switcheroo thing. But I liked it. You know, there were parts where it was like, come on, someone from Children's Services would have been called by now. Like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
But once you get past that part, I actually kind of liked it.
And I was looking up the actresses.
Yeah.
And the Heidi and Lisa, they both played Zach Morris love interests on Saved by the Bell.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. Please join us next week when we talk about Season 2, Episode 11, Dreams That Kill, in which Freddy kills 2 jerks with 1 stone.